Let's talk about giving feedback. It's one of the most important skills in any workplace, but let's be honest, it can be absolutely dreadful. So, what if I told you there's a simple, really powerful framework that can totally transform those tough conversations? Okay, let's get into it. You know that feeling, right? That knot in your stomach just before you have to give feedback? Yeah, it's just so easy to get it wrong. You're either too vague or you come off way too harsh. The good news is, it really doesn't have to be a minefield.
And look, getting this right is a huge deal. This isn't just about being a nice manager. Nope. When feedback is done well, it directly boosts team performance. It builds trust, it inspires confidence, and ultimately, it drives real business results. The stakes are incredibly high.
So how do we get there? Well, the solution is this elegantly simple framework from the Center for Creative Leadership. It's called the SBI Model. It's just 3 letters, but believe me, they can completely change how you approach feedback. First up, S stands for situation. This is all about setting the scene. So instead of a vague comment like, last quarter, you get really specific. In yesterday's team meeting, when we were all discussing the project timeline. See? This grounds the feedback in a moment you both clearly remember, so there's just no room for ambiguity.
Next, B is for behavior, and this part is absolutely crucial because it's about observation, not judgment. You only share what you actually saw or heard, the concrete actions. So instead of an interpretation like, you seemed disengaged, you state a fact. I noticed you were looking at your phone while Sarah was presenting. It's really hard to argue with a fact.
And finally, I is for impact. This is where you connect the dots for them. You explain the real consequence of that specific behavior. For example, and the impact was that it made it feel like you weren't valuing her contribution, which, could really affect team morale. This shows the person why their behavior mattered. Situation, behavior, impact. That's the whole model right there.
Okay, so let's put this model into action. We'll start with its most common use, constructive feedback. And here, the main goal might actually surprise you.
This is such a critical mindset shift. You aren't there to fix someone. You're just there to hold up a mirror. Your job is to increase their awareness. Because, hey, we can't change what we don't know, right? This simple reframe turns what could be a confrontation into a collaboration.
Now, before you even open your mouth, a few ground rules are key. You want to address things quickly, but never when you're angry. Wait until you're calm so logic is leading, not your emotions. And when you do speak, treat it like a real conversation. That means maintaining eye contact and creating a two-way dialogue, not just delivering a monologue from on high. Here's how you can structure that conversation for the best result. Don't just launch into it. First, invite them to share their own reflections on what happened. Then, ask for their permission to share your observations. That small step makes a huge difference. After you deliver your clear, candid SBI feedback, you finish by collaborating on the next steps. It becomes a partnership from start to finish.
But hey, SBI isn't just for the tough conversations. It is an equally powerful tool for giving positive feedback, for reinforcing the exact behaviors you want to see more of. I mean, a generic good job is nice, but it's totally forgettable. Specific SBI-style praise, that does so much more. It shows someone exactly what they did well so they can do it again. It builds their confidence, inspires them to take ownership, and it fundamentally shows that you see and you value their specific contributions.
And here's a fascinating little secret from neuroscience. When you give specific positive feedback, it can trigger a release of dopamine, the feel-good hormone, not just for the person receiving it, but for you, the giver, as well. It is a scientifically proven win-win that can lead to healthier habits and higher performance. How cool is that?
And the process is just as simple. You start with the situation, in this morning's client call. Then you pinpoint the behavior, the way you handled that really tough question about our deadline. And you explain the impact was brilliant. It completely reassured the client and built a ton of trust. Just finish it off with some genuine appreciation, and you've delivered feedback that will actually stick.
So, what's the big takeaway here? It's all about moving your feedback from being vague to being valuable. It's time to stop making forgettable comments and start giving specific insights that actually drive change. This table really lays it out beautifully. If you notice, the structure is nearly identical for both types of feedback. The only real difference is the goal. For constructive feedback, you're trying to increase awareness. For positive feedback, you're trying to reinforce a great habit. It's the same tool, just with different but equally powerful outcomes.
And that brings us right to the end. The real power of this model isn't just in knowing it, it's in using it. So my question for you is this. Think about your team. Think about the past few days. What is one piece of specific SBI-style feedback, either constructive or positive, that you can deliver this week?